I was listening to a priest do homily on this reading several years ago. He was talking about how when he was living in Israel, he started telling two young Muslim boys this story. Jesus told this parable about these two brothers, and the younger one went to his father and said, "Give me the inheritance." And one of the boys stopped him short and just said, his brother should have killed him right there on the spot. And while that goes against our sensibilities, that is much more close to the culture to which Jesus was speaking. That type of an insult of the son to his father. That he basically said, "I wish you were dead. I want my money. I don't care about you." What an insult to his father. But Jesus is telling us this parable because he wants us to see who the Father is. He wants us to see the heart of the Father. And I think, especially now at the end of the second week of Lent, because if we've been taking our penances and everything seriously, we might start to be getting discouraged as we're looking at our lives and saying, "Oh, I'm not doing so well." And we see our sins and saying, "Oh." But he's showing us the heart of the Father. And while the Father gives us this freedom to go and do what we want, he is longing, he is watching, he is waiting for us to turn. Even while he's a far way off, the Father sees him and then runs out to him because he has turned his life. He wants to go back to the Father. Now, the reason he wants to go back to the Father is very selfish. He's hungry. But still, he wants to go back to the Father. And he recognizes he's not deserving to be called a son. But this is the heart of the Father. You have come back, and you have mixed motives, but still, I have called you my son again. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. The ring was the signet ring for the family, showing that he's a son. And the servants of the household would have gone barefoot. They wouldn't have worn sandals. And so he's saying, I'm making you my son again. Even though you rejected it, I'm making you my son again. This is the heart of the Father, who forgives even the absolutely unexcusable insults that we do to the heart of God. He loves us so much. If we turn back to him, he immediately accepts us back, faster than we can. And then Jesus gives us, he's telling this parable to the tax collectors, or not to the tax collectors, to the scribes and the Pharisees, saying, and then look at this older brother who did everything his father told him, but he didn't recognize the love of the Father. He saw himself as a hired hand. And he was waiting for the death of his father too, so that he could have that young goat that he could eat with his friends. The Father looks at him and says, with love, and says, don't you see? Everything I have is yours. Everything. And that's true because the younger son took his inheritance, and so everything belongs to the older son now. Everything I have is yours. God says this to us. When we cry out and we're saying, God, we asked you for this. We've been praying for this and you didn't answer. And he says, don't you know? Everything I have is yours. You are heirs to the kingdom. Everything is yours. But don't let me not rejoice at the coming back of my son. He was lost and he's found again. He was dead and he's back to life. And so rejoice with me. Don't reject those who have repented and come back. This is the heart of the Father. He reaches out to the younger son, running out to him. He reaches out to the older son, going out of the party in order to try to draw him back in. And this is the heart of the Father for us. He so longs for us to be with him. But whether we recognize it or not, so often we are turning our back on God, saying, I want to do it my way. We're like little 2-year-olds. I want to do it my way. And God says, do you not know my incredible, merciful love that I have for you? Turn back to me. I was thinking about, I know I'm going long now. I was thinking about the song Hosea. You remember that song. We haven't sung anything really in how many months? But we often sing Hosea during Lent, although it's good for any time of year. Come back to me with all your heart. Don't let fear keep us apart. God calling out to us. Come back to me, come back to me, come back to me. Long have I waited for your coming home to me and living deeply a new life. Long have I waited. And God is longing for us. So as you have failed at your Lenten observances, if you're one of the normal people, like me, well, I'm not so sure how normal I am, but even though you have failed at your Lenten penances, don't get discouraged. Come back to me with all your heart. God saying, yes, come back to me. And even if you have done all of your Lenten penances perfectly throughout these last 2.5 weeks, we can become proud, arrogant, because we have been successful. And God going out to the older son saying, come back, come back, come back. Focus on my love. So let us turn back to the Lord this day and trust wholeheartedly in His merciful love.